Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey,
What's
Joe.
up? Yeah.
It's going good.
So hey, this is Joe Wayne, and I'm here with Ronan Delisle, and I'm down in his lovely apartment in Silver Lake. Right? We're in Silver Lake right now.
That's correct.
We're in the Holy Land, and yeah, it's just great to be here. Thanks for being down to do this.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. Just to reiterate for people that haven't listened to this before, I'm kind of doing a series of interviews with people that are going to be playing at wainestock this year, or people that have played at wainestock in the past. Or then there will be some exceptions as time goes on as well with people that I have on. But for the main point is just to kind of like promote this festival that I do at Volunteer Park in Seattle every year, which is a nice park that was designed by the Olmsted brothers that also did Central Park. So come check it out for that alone. There will also be some music as well. But yeah, man, I thought like we could just kind of have a casual conversation.
Let's do it.
Just take it easy. And yeah, I think that something that I think maybe like our history or whatever, like I didn't know you very well, but I knew that there was like this other guy from Redmond that played guitar.
There's
who
not
had
a
like
lot
European parents.
Yeah.
And
I think
yeah.
the first time I talked to you, you recognized me from a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Because I played on my friend Robert's like senior recital. Robert Gomez is an amazing guitar player that was came back to do like a victory lap year at University of North Texas where I was studying, and he was so cool because he was like, I don't know how old he was when he started school again, but he was like 40-ish, finishing his undergrad, and he was a jazz guitar player, but like not like so over jazz kind of. So like when he asked me to play on his recital, we were playing like Serge Gainsbourg stuff and Morricone stuff. So yeah, like he asked me to play on that song.
Yeah.
And then you recognized me. I don't know how you like that video like weirdly blew up.
Yeah.
Or something on YouTube.
It was really strange. Yeah.
And then you recognized me from it, and anyway, that's the first time I remember talking to you and Owen, I think.
Yeah, it was really weird because I was bonding with Owen Whitcomb about Ennio Morricone because we were just like kind of getting into that stuff. Or like I'd listened to it a long time ago, but then I had this like I remembered about it, which you do sometimes with music. And I did this Google search and I saw this thing that came up from like UNT, and I was like, oh, tight, like a live version. And then I looked at, I was like, wait, that's Ronan.
Yeah,
I know who that guy is. And yeah. That was just really wild. It's funny when you kind of happen upon something you already know when you're kind of just going through a YouTube rabbit hole. You're like, oh my God, everything's connected. Like,
it's all connected.
Yeah. But yeah. So I guess what's your setup going to be this year at wainestock? Are you going to play solo, you think?
No. I asked my friend Evan Woodall, who's a fantastic drummer, to play with me, and this bass player named Mark Hunter.
Oh, awesome.
Are, two guys I used to play with like a lot when I was playing jazz, and when I first like would go back to Seattle for summers when I lived in Texas. When I was in school, we played as a trio, but this is going to be completely different kind of music. But yeah, we're gonna be playing a lot of my songs from the recent record, kind of stripped down for trio.
Nice. Awesome,
maybe have some special guests.
Okay.
At some point, you know.
Maybe Matt.
Yeah,
on keys.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So Matt is a man that Johnson, right? Matt Williams. Oh God, sorry. My apologies.
Different generic American.
Yeah, exactly.
Last name.
But Matt Williams, I took some piano lessons from him for a while, which was very fun. And he's a ripper, and he's a lovely man from Kansas, right?
He's from Kansas City. Super sweet guy.
Yeah, so that'd be cool to see. I think I actually found like some video you did of him.
Yeah.
Playing like some jazz lick.
Well, yeah, like right before COVID, I felt like I had a little bit of like Joe Wayne energy flowing through my veins as far as like how to try and promote the record, and I thought doing little interviews with each of the musicians and having them share sort of like some music that was special to them, or like, you know, like a little nugget of music, whether like some people like just improvised, some people shared like a little warm up they did, but yeah, like right before COVID, I was like putting these videos together, and then they were unceremoniously released throughout the first couple months of the pandemic. But
Yeah, but it was.
I'm glad you found out.
I'm glad you released it because it was another thing I think where I kind of like
Yeah.
found you on YouTube again, like doing something,
Yeah.
which is funny. Like,
Yeah. No, those videos were cool.
yeah, man. So you've been dipping your toes into more video related projects over the years.
Yeah.
I feel like, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to just hear like about your process of doing music videos and just
Yeah.
what it's like to collaborate with people in general. Like, do you let people have their full vision, or do you kind of have ideas and
Yeah. I
mix the
think
two, probably?
on one of the videos for Guess I'm in a Mood, I gave Sneal, the director, like carte blanche on basically everything, and he just told me what to do. But he had a storyboard, he had an idea, he basically had everything figured out.
Was that the video when you were walking around LA?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one that where I'm like sort of moonstruck by this like worm spirit that like
Yeah.
possesses me to like
Yeah.
make my way from Eagle Rock area through Atwater Village and down to the river, and then I'm like I'm trying to catch this big fish, I guess. But
Did you film that late at night?
so we filmed it late at night, which was supposed to read as like early morning. So we shot it backwards.
Okay, right on.
So we so we started like, early in the day by the river and then worked our way back.
Nice. Okay, cool. That's a good idea. That's funny how you can kind of trick people with that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I know that the early morning is often used as like an evening thing.
Yeah, I mean,
But getting up and shooting stuff in the morning always just feels heroic, and it also looks great. And
I'm
usually
sure they
things are
look
quieter.
different because
Yeah.
obviously like they're different directions.
the light's coming from the other direction. Yeah.
Yeah, so some stuff
But yeah.
is unique, but
But there is another kind of witching hour in the morning, which is just yeah.
I'd like to try that sometime. I have an idea for like a surfing music video. I have some my friends Levi Gillis and Daniel Saka, who play in my band down here. They're both surfers.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're crazy about it. And Daniel, I was at a party with him a while ago, and he was describing like night surfing. Like he went on, I'm not sure how often he does it, but he did it at least this one time. And it sounded incredible.
Yeah.
Like, and the way he was describing it was so cool. And like some of what he was saying kind of worked its way into like a song I was writing. And as I was writing the song, it was kind of the first time I was thinking about the song and then like what the music video could be.
Yeah.
That early. Like as I was writing, I'm like, oh, I'm also seeing like what the video might be, which is really new because I've always felt like, at least when I was playing in Senior Fiend in my old band and when I first started putting music out, it really felt like making music videos was like this chore or like this thing that I had to do in order to get people to listen, because no one is just going to sit in front of like a still frame or like a album cover and just like listen to something.
Yeah.
But now I think it's feeling like it could potentially be just like something that's like that I'm actually building an identity around, as opposed to always like outsourcing all the creative elements. Like I'm definitely a novice, but like I guess I directed 2 of these videos for the recent no, just one. Sorry, just one. The one for family I like co-directed with my friend Elizabeth Schiffler. But I think more and more I want to just be able to do this stuff on my own.
Yeah.
But working with like a real, like not real, but like my friend Sneal is like a filmmaker.
Sure. Yeah.
And a lot of his ideas and the way he does things, it's like, obviously I would never think of that.
Totally. I think that when you kind of cross-pollinate or whatever, sometimes it's like someone telling you to do something in kind of a, like you might kind of, there might be someone that's kind of more versed where they're very much more methodical in what they do. Yeah. But I feel like as a novice, like I have the freedom to sort of like jump the gun and like do things in the quick, dirty way, and like a lot of audience is still just gonna really appreciate it for what it is, and there's purists that get like mad about, it's like, like a jazz player being like, sneering at like someone that just plays a bunch of seventh chords or something like that,
Yeah.
but with nothing more or something.
They do sneer.
Yeah, that's exactly. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's really cool, and I think that I've touched upon this recently, but like, music is a great vehicle for all other forms of creativity.
Mhm.
You know, you've got like, yeah, because we live in a very visual culture. Like everything's just an image is just so immediate. So like, I think it's great to have those tools and see how your art can be like, you know, spread out throughout the world in different ways.
Yeah.
That's something I really like about like doing merch and videos and stuff, is it feels like an extension of all the other stuff. Yeah.
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 It is funny. Like, I don't know if this is getting into too convoluted of a topic, but it's funny that you mentioned that we live in a visual culture. We definitely do, but it's funny that like sound is also this thing that is so rich, and like I'm not sure like where our like visual sense ranks compared to like our auditory sense, but I just saw this movie 32 Sounds that like really rocked my world, and it was
I'll have to check that out.
It's like just this like it's this film that like deals with sounds and like how evocative sounds are. And lately I've been thinking about like just like field recordings and sounds that, or like recordings of sounds that are like from everyday life, and like how evocative those are, and how much more evocative it is than like seeing a picture sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're very visually targeted all the time,
Yeah.
but the for me the strongest thing is like sound and image together, which is why like scores have always been fascinating to me, like people like Morricone, or
amazing.
like I'm blanking on names, but like
Have you heard of Piero Piccioni?
No, I've never checked him out.
He's awesome. He's like an Italian, like fully practicing lawyer who also like did soundtracks, and like, I don't know, it just kind of blows your mind like what people were able to do before smartphones were around, where everyone became dumb.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that he's a really great, amazing. I think a lot of the movies weren't very good, but like it's kind of the same with Morricone. But like, I think
Bad and the Ugly is good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's
movie.
really good. I think that the thing about sound is listening to something on a phone or like on a shitty little speaker compared to like sitting in like a big Pantheon with like beautiful surround sound. Like you can get the best version of it, and like a lot comes across in like when it's like on the best speakers. I think like a good melody can be enjoyed out of a tiny little tinny phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I think that like maybe images are just kind of, I don't know. I think that music hits you on a subconscious level very quickly, but like maybe there's like a lot of like more immediate thoughts with like a very images are just more literal. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard because everyone has like their own interpretation.
Yeah,
I
think they are more like you can communicate things in a more clear way.
Yeah,
using an image or like an icon.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with music videos, I feel like where I'm most passionate about them is when I'm able to find an idea visually that actually like amplifies the song and like brings another dimension to the song.
Yeah.
And I found like on the music video for Family, like a lot of the timbres, like and the guitars and the drums, like just fit really well with this kind of like woody kind of like a lot of the furniture and the like the items just kind of fit in this way that I thought really amplified the actual musical ideas and that they were working together and that neither was like serving the other which is exciting to me. So that's why it feels like it's like an avenue I feel excited about as opposed to this thing that I have to do.
Totally. And like you can, I think, you know, it's obviously inherently deeply personal. So like putting you in the videos is cool. I think that like in the Right to Me a Coda video, right? The one with like the horn.
Yeah.
Was that a flugelhorn? Or was it
I think Ray was playing flugelhorn. That's for Thorn.
Okay.
Yeah, the song's called Thorn. It's on Right to Me a Coda.
Okay, yeah. And I love that video. I think like there's just something visually interesting about that horn, and it It has a really beautiful sound. So it's like, it was like a treat to kind of see what that instrument was. And
yeah, it looked great on camera.
yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that was a really fun video to shoot too. My brother-in-law, John O'Connor, shot that video.
Right, yeah. Did he project over
No,
it
those
too?
are, he like overlaid like this like found footage from this like kind of cult horror film from Japan.
Okay.
But yeah, I was super into this Pat Metheny video for Last Train Home, and it's like just like this kind of delightfully 80s. Like, I feel like there's a moment in jazz history where like in the 80s where like it was kind of almost commercially viable. Like it's like smooth jazz cusp kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but they were like making music videos, which like a lot of jazz artists didn't do. But
yeah,
Pat Metheny, I think, like wanted to be like kind of a crossover artist, like George Benson was or something.
yeah.
But these videos are, hey, you got to check them out. They're really good. They're basically on like each member of the band is on these like rotating platforms that like come in and out of the foreground and background, and Pat Metheny is giving these really like kind of like sensual looks to the camera.
It's so funny. Yeah, it was an interesting time.
Yeah,
for the 80s for things. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I think that I mean, I'm not the person to have any authority about this, but like, it's just like the sound of synthesizers, like the way that we interpret them now, like 80s sounding synths, as opposed to them sounding like futuristic and like really amazing back then. That is just like that just blows my mind all the time.
Yeah, things that are futuristic but retro at the same time are very interesting because they're like they signify the future, but it's the future from the view of like
totally. Yeah,
it's like how the theremin or like certain instruments are like they'll always just kind of be like otherworldly.
Yeah, there's just something terrible about like a synth trumpet though. It's like the worst sound ever. I'm just gonna check this one real quick. We can just keep talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really versed. Oh shit, in a synthesis very much. So I feel like we'll probably sound dumb talking about it. But
there's some people like there's some like salsa bands that like I feel like the synth trumpet is what they use live. And
okay.
That's actually like just the sound that they want.
It probably like integrates nicely with like everything else.
Yeah, and I imagine some places like those are just the instruments that are around.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what they use.
Yeah, totally.
It's not like they don't have trumpet players that they could ask.
Right.
It's like that's the sound is like the, you know.
I mean, it's really cool when you see these videos, I feel like, of people in Africa with like a keyboard just plugged in outside and they're just like really ripping on it. And
like the dust to digital stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm always getting my mind blown by like what people are playing and
because I'm always like, oh no, I need like a nicer guitar, or like no, this pedal like is greasy or something, you know, like I get so caught up about that stuff.
Bad
and it's just
or
massive
greasy?
bad. I don't know,
Greasy,
just like or like I just feel like something isn't. The conditions aren't quite right, and I think that's like a great excuse. I think as an artist or whatever, like waiting for the conditions to be perfect is something that may never arrive, and it's just made up. And so I'd love to just like talk to you about like getting things done, getting them out the door, and like stuff like that. Like, you know, just being like, all right, this is no longer mine. I put it out or whatever. Like, how does that go for you? Is that hard for you? Stressful for you?
Like the actual, like once I've finished something and it's ready to go out,
being like, okay, now it's done. Like, does it? You just feel it? You're like, okay, I know this is done now. All right.
Like when I got to a point where I felt like the mixes were done.
Yeah.
On this last record, I guess to me, like the compositions themselves and the songs will continue to change. Like, I think I was practicing for the release show and I realized that like one of the lyrics I wrote, like that there was kind of like a better way of saying that, like, and that I'm not sure if this happens to you in lyrics, but like you'll write a lyric and you'll realize that like that sequence of words or even like a single word makes sense to you, but it's actually like grammatically incorrect or like actually doesn't make sense to someone else.
Yeah.
The grammatical incorrectness doesn't bother me as much because I think that's fun, but sometimes you'll be like, oh, actually, like this makes more sense this way.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, and like even the guitar parts or like little things continue to change as I play the songs. But I think to me, I like abide by the rule of just like, once there's nothing bothering me anymore in a mix,
nice.
that's kind of like a helpful thing, because you can always like improvement is nebulous and it doesn't really like, it's kind of arbitrary how good something is. But like once I feel like I've cleared the stuff out of the way for the things to shine that need to, then
right on. That's cool.
I usually feel done.
That's a good way of looking at it. I also I'm trying to just not stop, like get caught up with some little detail about something, because I've kind of realized that the point of doing it is just to be like, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and this is the best I can possibly do in this couple of days of working on this song. Like, I can't just spend another month trying to make this work, because sometimes you'll sit down and something will kind of come out effortlessly, and it's just that maybe it's just really easy for you to play, or like it just lands really fast.
Yeah.
And then sometimes something will be mundane and it won't feel right. And I'm just trying to be like cool with moving on from something, because I think that I don't know, it's not all about being completely productive, but it is counterproductive, I think, to just be like hammering away at something endlessly until it's perfect, because I don't know. Sometimes also, just to go back to your like lyrics thing, sometimes if you can like start doing something in a way with a song, and like you've recorded a demo of it, and then you listen to the demo for a long time, and then you're like, okay, this is just how it is. It's imprinted in my head this way now. Like I can't change it. And have you ever had that when you've kind of like you solidified an idea too much, and then when you try to do like a better version of it, it just doesn't work anymore, or like it just feels like you're sitting in the wrong position or something like that?
To me, what happens usually when that comes up is like, I'll have a demo that I really like, but there's a couple of deal breaker things that like make me like motivate me to like make a new recording or a new demo. And then usually in that new demo, those kind of deal breaker things will be improved and will be good, but then I'll like lose something else that I'm not able to recapture from the original. Totally. So it's this, I think they're both worth doing. It's just like, I think I've gotten used to the fact that like whenever I sit down to make a demo, I have to be okay with the fact that that might actually be the best version. Totally. Sometimes, because like I know there's demos that I've made where it's like, damn, like I can't do that again. Yeah. Either like the way the microphones were placed, or like the way I played it or something. It's like, or like the collection of all those things, there's like something potent that like it exists in that recording. Like the word demo is like an arbitrary label that we put onto the first time we do a recording.
It's funny when you keep on working on a demo and then it loses the original magic. It's like the worst thing. It's like becomes all sterile and stuff. That's really annoying. Yeah. I
demoed pretty hard for this record. I think I probably did like 2 or 3 demos for almost every song.
Oh, awesome.
Which was overkill, but not for this record. I'm trying to just do like voice and guitar demos. Learn to play them live really well.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a funny. I mean, some people call it demoitis. You know, when you just like get kind of hung up.
Yeah, I have demoitis.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah,
painful.
Swelling of the demos.
Yeah. Inflammation of the demos.
Yeah, for sure. Well, maybe I can ask you a question about guitar technique really fast.
Sure.
Because like I kind of stopped playing guitar in my band because for some reason like my hand just felt really sore, like the fatty muscle between my index and my thumb. Like
you're playing.
I couldn't stop but squeezing hard.
Left hand on the neck.
Yes, and it was just so sore here all the time. And like Jesse Miller like told me like you just try and practice playing as soft as possible as a way to like. But I feel like I'm always like overcorrecting or like holding it way too tight for some reason. Yeah. And I don't know how to like fix that. So I was just like, I'm just gonna like step away from this for a while. Yeah. Yeah. Like, have you ever encountered that or like?
Sure.
Because like, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really common for people to squeeze
Yeah.
in the left hand, when really like the thumb is just kind of like a support
Yes.
digit. Like you can actually like it's not super comfortable, but you can play without your thumb.
Yeah.
You can do stuff. It's just like the thumb is just holding the neck in place so that you can press with your other fingers.
Yeah.
The thumb itself should not be pressing.
Right.
So that's what's tough. And like, you know, a lot of people like, you know, squeeze really hard and like that's when you start getting
it really sucks. And like I feel like
it does suck.
It's like it feels like I'm holding like 40 pounds of weight for some reason on my thumb or something. And
it's common. Like beginners play really hard.
Yeah.
They just you just grip tightly. That's what everybody does, and working out of that is part of taking lessons and stuff.
And I think I am going to take the opportunity that I have to ask you more stuff about guitar because
you should.
This is for me mainly. So,
happy to share.
Like I don't know. I feel like like when you pick up a shitty guitar and you're like, oh god, this guitar feels bad to play. Like,
what feels bad about it when you pick up
like like an old crappy guitar and it's like the action's really high and the strings are fat and like it feels like it's like cutting your fingers to play it. Like, do you? I mean, obviously, you probably just become more comfortable with all guitars at a certain point, right?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, I think, and I'm not trying to be like opaque.
No, it's fine.
But I think the reality is like if you have expectations about what you want a guitar to feel like and you need it to feel a certain way in order to play, or like you have things that you want to play and you have to play them, then you're going to be disappointed by guitars that don't fit what you normally play. But if you like find a guitar that is different and you are able to notice what is different about it, maybe in its construction or the way it feels, and find music or things to play that work with that.
Totally.
Like, for instance, if I find a guitar with high action, like I wouldn't just start trying to play something that like required a lot of like dexterity or something.
Okay.
Because it's like not going to work. But like it probably would be good if you had a slide. Yeah. Or like a pill bottle or like or just like we're playing stuff that was like very like physical and percussive. You know? Or maybe you don't even use a left hand and you just tune it to like a strange tuning and you're just playing it, or you put stuff in the strings. Like I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like
no, it's fine.
I think at some point I was like, as like a very like sensitive young jazz guitar player, like I feel like the idea is that like you have everything dialed in, you have your perfect pick, you have every string gauge figured out, you got your pickup, you have your amp and your guitar, and like you can only kind of play on that. Otherwise, like you're kind of like you know, it's not your thing that you're used to, which felt like limiting, you know. And I think at some point I was just more interested in, you know, if someone hands me a guitar at a party and is like, hey, play this, like let's play together. Yeah. It seems really stupid to be like, oh, sorry, that's not my setup.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sensitive about that.
But that's not an easy thing to do. But it requires being like, okay, like I'm gonna leave behind my expectations of what I can play on the guitar, or like how good I'm supposed to sound, or like all that kind of noise, and just like, okay, just deal with this instrument, you know, and like see what it has to offer, because like there's shitty guitars, but kind of like what you're saying about like the ideal circumstances. It's like there is no other circumstance other than the one that you're kind of in. Yeah, totally. And you could also just say, no, I don't want to play, which is fine. Yeah. Like, I think that's the thing too. It's like, okay.
Totally.
Yeah. I think that's my opinion on.
No, that's great. I think that like
guitars.
it's funny because they say like with skateboarding, like in order to get better at skating, like you should just go to as many skate parks as you can. Like, you have to switch it up a lot, you know? Like that's
Yeah.
how you get good at anything. You have to like when we were talking about yoga earlier, like how vinyasa yoga is a bunch of different poses every time, but Bikram yoga is like the same every time.
Yeah.
So you
It's
just
like a
kind of
routine.
you lean into this thing, and then like when it's different, you're like, oh, I thought I was doing a really good job of learning this.
Well, it seems like you're getting really good at doing Bikram yoga.
Exactly.
As
yeah.
opposed to like yoga more broadly,
Exactly.
perhaps, or like
Yeah. It
But
can be
yeah.
demoralizing sometimes.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I've like pulled up to a skate park before and been like, oh shit, I got nothing here. Like, everything feels strange. Like the texture of the ground is too slippery, or like all of the transition is too fast or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn it. Like, and I've had the same thing with like keyboards, and when someone's handed me a guitar and been like, hey, play something. Even though I started playing guitar when I was 12, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like this doesn't feel right or something.
Yeah, and I think like that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think there's professionals that feel
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have a night where nothing feels right, and that's okay.
Yeah. Oh
But
my
like
God.
there on the flip side, there's people like Keith Jarrett who like Keith Jarrett is like one of the great pianists, jazz pianists, but also plays. I mean, he's just a fantastic piano player across the board. But plays with Miles Davis, or played with Miles Davis in the 70s, like late 60s and 70s, and is an incredible musician with his own trio and whatever. I'm going on about him, but he like in his later years like would not play a piano unless it was the exact piano
Right.
that he had asked for, and like wouldn't perform.
Right.
So there's people at high levels who are that picky.
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's good
so
to know.
it's really not like you can be one or the other. It's a choice. Like
yeah.
if you're one way, if you're like on Keith's side, then you might not play in random situations, which you might like feel like you're missing out on. But if you have no interest in doing in being spontaneous, like being spontaneous is not necessarily better than being
That's
regimented.
True. That's
like,
true.
I feel like there might be like a cultural like stigma against people who are anti spontaneity, or it's like
totally.
be fun, be spontaneous, but it's like that's a choice too as a musician. Like you don't have to do that.
Yeah, totally. I feel like maybe there's like obviously this probably isn't fully true, but it feels like there's like a narrower thing for comedians where like they have to be able to do good crowd work, they have to have a good hour, they have to be spontaneous.
Some people don't do crowd work though.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people's stuff is just really tight and it's the
Sure.
same each time.
Yeah.
Like people
Fair
like
enough,
Mulaney or Seinfeld, or like
Yeah.
people who are like,
That's true, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there's some people who are like open themselves more to that
Sure.
chaos than others.
Yeah, there's like different types of different types of athletes or something.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
think I take a lot of inspiration from baseball players who, even at the height of their game, like in the MLB, there's players who will like have like an amazing season,
Mm-hmm.
and then the whole league kind of studies what they did that year and
Mhm.
like reacts to it, and
Yeah.
then the next year they have like an awful season because everyone like adjusted what they're doing, and now they have to find like a new way to be amazing.
Oh, interesting.
And I think about that with music.
People
a lot.
know what their tricks are.
Yeah, and they figured out your tricks, and now your tricks don't work anymore.
Oh wow.
So like the art is like adapting,
yeah.
as opposed to
Interesting.
just like practicing a bunch of things that you're just gonna like do all the time. or,
Damn,
like,
I wasn't aware of that phenomenon.
like yeah, it's common in baseball because there's so much analytics and
yeah, that stuff's crazy. My brother does analytics stuff, and he made me aware of the fact that like a lot of Major League Baseball teams have like whole statistics teams.
oh, for sure,
It's nuts.
it's nuts, but it's inspiring because it's like these players will go like they have to adapt.
Yeah.
And I think that adaptability is something that I value and always strive to be better at, like trying to not have a calcified view of what my skills are.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, being adaptable is a superpower for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, one thing with gigging and stuff is like how different a room can feel. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I think the first time we played at Numos, which is like a 400
Congrats.
capacity. Yeah, thank you. It was like a long time ago. It was so funny. There was a time,
Like name drop.
yeah, there was this like in 2018 or something. There was like this 1 week where Chastity Belt asked me to play with them at a Woodland Theater, and I was like, oh,
Name
hell
drop,
yeah,
name drop.
nice.
Yeah.
You know? And then I got asked to play with Hebu at Numos, and I was like, whoa, shit, like things are popping off for me, like
Yeah.
sick. And then like nothing happened again for like many years. I don't know, it was
What
just like
happened,
it was
Joe?
like a
What'd you
random,
do?
it was like a fluke thing. But like I thought that like things were picking up or whatever, and like I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like what I was talking about was like when you're playing in a bigger room, it just feels so different from like the rooms that you're used to playing when you're like just getting started or whatever, like houses or like small venues.
The Redmond Firehouse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to name drop, man.
Yeah.
and
If anyone's listening.
and I don't know. It's adapting to those conditions is really cool, because sometimes I'll be so well prepared for a concert. We'll have like 3 practices before, and then I'll just have like a weird sound check or like something weird would have happened that day, and then it just feels like nothing was right when I played, and it sucks because you don't feel good while you're up there, and then someone sees you and they're like, oh, actually it was cool, like we enjoyed it. But like I feel like there's like this exponential thing that happens with me where like I'm like, oh, this isn't right, like the sound check wasn't good.
Yeah.
And then I think like my performance, the way I'm feeling about my performance is like really different from how it's being perceived sometimes. So I don't know, I'm trying to like get more adaptable with like different conditions, and I think that'll just come with you know when you see like a really good band and they like come in with their instruments, they set them up, they just done the sound check just right, they know it all, then they go back and just go relax and they come out and do their thing. And like I feel like every time for me with a show, it's like, okay, like this has to be perfect, okay, oh, this didn't happen, like, oh my god, where's the snare stand, oh, and like all this stuff.
Yeah, because you're taking care of
Yeah,
everything on stage
Sure.
yourself.
Yeah, totally. So like I just feel like I'm trying to be a bit more relaxed on the days of shows, because I feel like that'll help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna restart this video real fast.
Oh,
You can just keep
sure.
talking though.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of those bands that you're talking about, like a lot of those bands have people taking care of the most stressful aspects of their day. Especially a band that's playing at Numos, like that's like kind of like a bigger venue, so it's like they have like probably tour managers, and they might not be hauling all their own gear on stage, and
Yeah.
I mean, for like the DIY thing, it's like show days can be, especially if it's like your own show, like I kind of felt that at our show at Permanent Records, where it's like I'm going to have a hard time getting into the feeling of like enjoying playing right now, because it's like I have all these different things floating around in my brain that are like more like production related.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to sort of be worrying about tons of different things, and like it just feels absurd sometimes. Like the amount of time I like put into promoting something or like making a poster for something, and I mean obviously it pays off. It's nice when it feels like it pays off, but it sucks when there's those times where you're like damn, like that didn't pay off. Fuck, like I don't know.
But the payoff is like on some. I mean, you could view playing a set as like on some level, it's like you're working your shift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
like it doesn't have to be. It's unrealistic, at least in my view, for it to be this like cathartic, beautiful experience each
for sure,
time.
Yeah,
and like when you're trying to make a show happen, it's like the audience kind of is what counts, and as long as they're enjoying the music and having a good time, it's okay if you can't hear the bass or the keys or your voice loud enough to really be enjoying it. Like as long if that's every time, then you might have like a bummer time playing on stage. And I do think that like I've had moments like or like a string of gigs where it's like, is playing live even worth it at my level? Because it's like, okay, like it's just like not very satisfying. But every once in a while you'll have a show where it's just like everything does fall into place, and then it's like the best thing ever when people are just like silently listening to something and you're like using that energy and there's a good back and forth. Like
totally. I'm still like getting a lot of performing things down. I think like singing and playing all the time. I feel like getting the microphone in the right place and
Yeah.
the seat height being right, like, is stuff I'm still so focused on. And like, I guess I hope that just like when I'm performing that people don't think, oh man, this is just painful. Like, why is he still doing this? Like, that's the thing that I worry about the most, which is like, you know, just me getting in my head too much.
Sounds irrational to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh man, okay, fuck, like, oh, he's still doing this. All right, man. You know, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I think it's me just thinking that other people are thinking about me more than they actually are or something.
Well, they're thinking about you, but they're just, I mean, they're wishing for your success. I mean, no one wants to go to something and have it be bad.
Yeah.
Like, people hope that something's good.
Yeah.
And when the levels are off, they're not mad. They're just, they just want to hear the voice.
Yeah.
I want to hear the vocals.
Yeah. I'm thankful for, like, my dad comes to my shows because he's very honest about his experience about it. And like, he's like, yeah, your vocals weren't very loud, but like, it's too bad. You got to bring them up and stuff. And like, I appreciate, because I know that he's like being honest with me about it. Yeah. Which is good because like, if everyone, because you know your friends are like, great job, you can't really like, you don't know if they mean that or not sometimes. Yeah. Because it's like,
they don't.
You wouldn't tell you. Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't be like, dude, that was pretty shitty. You're like that. You wouldn't do that to someone. But it's good to have people that give honest feedback if it feels helpful. I guess I don't know.
It usually is helpful. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever had like feedback that you're like, oh, you know, like kind of like rocked you a little bit, or was like felt like unwelcomed or something like that?
I mean, I got used to taking certain forms of feedback in college. Because I would have, but that was like kind of like there was a forum for that and like a situation where I was expecting it. There's been a couple times, actually, I think just once in a recent memory where someone, this musician actually that I like totally admire and look up to, happened to be at a show, and he was like, "Hey, like, have you ever considered like, you know, moving the key up to some of your songs because your voice is sitting kind of low in it." I was like, "Oh, that's fucking great!" Like, I really wish, like, I had a feeling that might be the case. Like, that's kind of how I felt when I was singing them, and like, we sort of had a little conversation about like why they were in that key, and we were kind of bouncing ideas off each other, and I thought that was really welcome and not really like something that I expect at like a DIY show, because there's this kind of like, I don't know, I'm not against it, but there is a sort of like, I don't know if I really want to say
like
this,
music school thing at DIY shows.
No, like kind of the opposite. Like, I don't know if I really believe this, but it's like it can be like participation trophies sometimes, where it's like you did your best, good job. Yeah. Or maybe not participation trophy, but like, I'm going to say good job no matter what. Yeah. And I do think that like, I am still, maybe because of the way I was brought up musically, like I still really value the hierarchy of musicians. And I do perceive it. I'm like attuned to that. So when like an elder, or like someone I perceive as an elder is like, hey, have you thought about this? I'm very excited about that kind of feedback. Yeah. And even from like a peer, I would be totally like fine with it. But like, I don't think that happens enough. And I don't think people invite that enough, because where no one else is going to tell you.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of sometimes can be you're like trying to, I don't know. Because sometimes I try to remember like with setting up shows and stuff, it's like the point of it is having like community. And I think I remember like this thought was relayed to me from Jesse via you once, or like you said this to Jesse and he said it to me to like reminding him to be like, this is about like community and stuff. And I think that there is a lot of validity in that, you know, like I think that wainestock wouldn't be interesting or as enjoyable if I was just like, okay, who are like the best bands in the West Coast, or like, you know, obviously it would be like kind of less feasible for me to do that too, because it's like all people that I know, and like
Yeah.
they have varying levels of ability, and I think that's cool because every time I've tried to like ask a bigger band or something, it feels like it's like, please will you play at my festival, and like
Yeah.
you have to like sort of get down on your knees a little bit, and I'm not interested in doing that, and I also don't have like the resources to like guarantee they're ever all gonna get like $1,000 or something, and like
Wait, we're not getting paid $1,000.
well not this time around, but I'm gonna try and sell tickets this time, so yeah guys, check out the link for the tickets.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like I think I've touched upon this before, that I just kind of pay for it out of my own pocket, and like I eat a lot of costs. Like I broke even last time because I had like a big grant, but like yeah, where am I going with this? Like
Yeah.
I like that it's kind of a intimate thing, and it's like kind of a family affair almost.
It's like friends and extended friends. It's
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of, but it is kind of your community that you're building.
And I that's the cool thing, because like last year I was in the middle of it all, and I was like, wow, look at all these people that I bring together. And it's really cool when you have an event like that's centered around you, and you realize, oh, look at all these great people that come from all these different, they're all here, and I'm the center of, like, it's like a projection of me when I look around myself. These are all the people that sort of, like the shitty people over there is like my bad personality, and nice people. No, I was kidding. But I don't know. It's cool, and I think that people understand that there's like an intention behind it at this point, like, because it's not the same as like Capitol Hill Block Party or something, or whatever Capitol Hill Block Party has turned into, which is like kind of like Coachella
like
or
EDM.
something, and like people taking Molly and stuff, which is like, well, I think there was one person that was on MDMA at the last wainestock, but I don't know, not to digress or anything, but yeah, I think
it's not MDMA
exactly.
exclusive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and there's so I don't know where I'm going.
Leave the
here.
Molly out of this. People can
exactly.
do Molly
Yeah,
at
you can
Wainestock.
go afterwards somewhere.
Molly's not the problem with Capitol Hill Block Party.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. A little MDMA never hurt. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I think everybody's definition of community is a little bit different. It's good to hear.
That's a good point.
Kind of what it means to you, like.
That's a good point. Because I think sometimes it can be used as an excuse for something to be shitty, and like that sucks. I mean, maybe that sounds harsh, but like sometimes like I do want some quality, or whatever, or like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah, the words like even quality and community mean different things. Like,
yeah.
To me, I guess my sense of community is that like the emphasis is on like people supporting each other and providing things for each other in like a mutual way. So like the goods that are being exchanged like aren't necessarily like the emphasis.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like it doesn't. Yeah, sure. If you go to like whatever community theater, like all these things, like all these things that have like community in front of it, are actually sort of like a euphemism for something being like lower tier. But I don't think that necessarily means that like, but the word communities also just means like a group of people doing things, and like, I think the point is that there's like a supportive element to this network of people,
and it feels more important than ever because like you get to be seen by people that you live near to, and like they see what you're doing, and they're like, there's like some physical context to it, and like. Yeah, you're getting to witness what other people in your geographical area are doing. And for the most part, like when I walk around these days, I never run into anyone I know. I never know what people are doing. Like, I don't know what people do. Like one time I was at the Arboretum on a Saturday afternoon. There's no one there. And in the summer, I was like, where is everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck are people doing? Like, are they all just like at home playing video games and stuff? And I don't know. It's good. I think this idea came up. I heard this recently. It was like, it's good to create culture, and I think that that's like kind of what the vision is with making music and art is. It's to engage other people, and it can seem self-centered sometimes, but it's just like my way. It feels so good when people say, hey, that was cool poster you made, or like I like that music video or something, and it feels valuable, and it's cool getting to share what's going on inside you and contributing to enriching other people with it.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of people that seem like very precocious, but they're not self-aware in music. Like they're like, oh, I'm so good at shredding, but like something like that. But they don't want to do other parts that will make them. They get frustrated about not, like I'm such a good musician. I don't understand why like no one cares. It's like, I don't know, they're being too zoomed in or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think you could have a discussion around like what the inherent value of music is, which might be a lot lower than people actually think. Or like, it's strange because I think musicians like obviously resonate with music on like a more like existential level, like with the thing itself. Like as like a product of an artistic process. Whereas I think a lot of other like cultures in the past throughout human history, it's like a process. Yeah. Like a process, and like there's no like result. It's like there's the song that we play like when people die, there's the songs that we play when people are born, and like the song itself isn't as important as the life event.
That's so true.
And it's like we don't have that in Western culture.
Right.
I mean, we have songs that we put on
when we graduate high school.
But they change every year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're not like, it's not like the same song for hundreds of years, which is what makes some traditions like so potent. It's like, this is the song, this is the one from like the beginning. But I think I grapple with that a lot too, as someone that's like, I'm influenced by a lot of music that's like processed music. Like I feel like jazz is, it's like Black American music that comes from the church, a lot of it, and like and from like Africa, where like that music is like maybe not ritualistic, 'cause I don't know enough about it to say that, but like definitely a part of day-to-day life and dancing, and like it's not just like the way I treat it, it's like I absorb it more as like this like thing I'm studying and learning, like a discipline, but it's not like I haven't lived that music, the roots of that music. So I see it more as like if I listen to a recording, like I get so much energy from just hearing that music, but then it's like other people, they put music on behind dinner or behind having people over. Like music is a thing that is used in life, which I think is valid, but it's different. And that's why I think like sometimes like around like community building, where I struggle with it too, it's like, okay, like, is it just about people or is it about the music? And it's really, there's no clear cut answer, but I think some people get frustrated when they like don't have the skills actually to build community. And like their thing is like making music, and it's like, that's not enough. For whatever.
Yeah. That's all making me think of stuff, because sometimes I get so hung up on just really dumb little things that are sort of like, they seem like business related things or like marketing related things about music, and it's just so ridiculous at this point and this level, because it's just like, actually music is this opportunity where I actually get to do something in the physical world with other people and bring people together, and there's like so few instances of that in my life at this point, and it's like it's just you can really sell yourself short by just being disappointed by some weird like internet metrics or something like that.
Well, yeah, you were kind of like a few minutes ago, you were talking about community, and then you started talking about promotion. Yeah. Which I think they're not the same. Yeah. Like there can be community around like a promoted event or like a regular event, but like I think in the true sense, there can't really be money involved. Yeah, totally. In community. Yeah. Or like at its purest form. Yeah. Like I feel like the main example of community throughout Western world has been like church, which obviously there's money involved, but like not among the congregants or like, people, when religion was more dominant in the United States. Like that was your built-in, like that's where you'd go hear music.
Right.
That's where you
that
go
was your
meet
vehicle.
people. That was your barbecue time. Like that's where you kept up with people.
Yeah.
And I think like it's interesting now that we've like freed ourselves of religion, but like we've also like, kind of freed ourselves of community.
Totally. Yeah. And like we're doing these replacing it with other things that are kind of shockingly similar.
Well,
and maybe a bit more self.
We should be more, but I think like social media gives us a false sense of communion. So like people actually think they're satiated on a human connection level. But there have been very few regular events in my life that I felt like even come close to what church would have felt like if I grew up in like the 50s in like a religious household.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm glad I didn't, but it's like for a while, like when I was living in Seattle, I would go to the racer sessions more or less weekly. There's probably like a couple years where I went weekly, and then after that, like more sparsely attended. But that was like, that's, and thank you so much to Haley Friedland and Evan Woodall and all the people that still keep that running. But that was like a huge deal for me, and that felt like true community. Like just as far as being able to, like, all the things that community produced was intense, and no one was really at the center of it, which there's nothing wrong with that. Like what you're describing with wainestock, like you're very much at the center of that for now. But like when things grow, I think like what's cool is that like it's kind of decentralized in this way that's like it's it's like a life blockchain or something. The responsibility is like, and the energy of it is like every participant is like equally responsible for it happening, as opposed to like one person showing up. I mean, Haley and Evan do show up physically every week to do it. They did back then. I think it's less now, but still, like there is like one person that's like showing up more than everybody else, but it's not about them,
Totally. I think that like I would be lying if I said that. This might just sound ridiculous, but like I think that my reasons for doing wainestock become purer and purer. Like I think originally I thought it would be a good way to like start playing shows, or like have a thing that was my own, that was cool and something that I felt was lacking. But I think it's actually it's becoming more of a, in doing these things, like it becomes like a way for me to communicate with people more and stuff, and it's becoming like like I said, it's just the intentions become more pure and stuff, and I think that's a really nice thing. Like it's like for some reason it's the lesson I needed in my life. Like I don't think I've ever been like an extremely avaricious or like competitive person, because I think that like but I think that I'm still learning. I'm getting good lessons from it, and like I kind of realize that I have everything I already need, like I don't really there are obviously like things I'd like to be more successful at or whatever, but I'm not like banking on them as much as I maybe like used to attach my ego to things I was doing. I don't as much anymore, and it's nice.
Like the idea of like having a festival originally was like a more clear cut, like this is cool. A way to advance
my name out
musical.
But it's like, actually I'm making stuff happen for a bunch of other people in this like community. So but I think that one's just stopped. But I think I mean maybe this would be a good place to wrap up. Thank you so much, Ronan. This is really nice.
Thanks,
Joe. I really like how this conversation evolved. It kind of started, we touched upon like how we knew each other, went into some guitar technique, and then we kind of moved into some higher level topics, and like I really like the way it did that, and it's cool just having an open conversation. I think this medium is interesting for that, because it's unscripted, and I think when you share enough things together with someone, something interesting will come up. So thank you for being a great proof of concept for the future ones.
Oh, absolutely. You're gonna edit out all the offensive stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, no using that C word, community. But yeah, dude, anything that you'd like to specifically plug or anything like that?
No, I'll be playing a wainestock on August 18th.
Yeah.
And I'm
kicking off the weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to have a bunch of copies of my record and some T-shirts. So while it's still relatively new, come hear the music and
Yeah,
come hang
check out some of Ronan's videos online.
Check them out.
Yeah. All right. I'll post a link underneath this. Thank you
Yeah.
very much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.